So what can I say about this Paul meets Monsters vs. Aliens deal? Obviously more on the side of Monsters vs. Aliens and less on the side of Paul. But I'm going to give this a 4 out of 11 because it wasn't that great. Kids are going to want to go see it because it looks like Monsters vs. Aliens. It does have a different plot, but a different feel, but it was still pretty much Monsters vs. Aliens. The only thing is the alien act a little more like Paul, or have you ever seen American Dad, Roger? And the alien I'm talking about is the big strong one. The other alien, and by the way, I mean no inappropriate stuff in this movie. I just meant their characteristics. Um, Meanwhile, the smaller one, named Gary, and the bigger one, as I said, is Scorch. The smaller one acts sort of like the alien that helps out the human in Mars Needs Moms. So, not an original idea here. It's about the relationship between them two. And the movie starts out with Scorch on a mission, and Gary works at mission control. And, of course, Scorch gets himself in trouble like he always does. Gary has to save him. And then, when Scorch gets back, who gets the credit? Scorch gets the credit. Even though Gary had to save his butt. So, Gary quits. Not really a spoiler, because, you know, he's going to go to planet Earth anyway. Or, as they call it in this movie, the Dark Planet. And, of course, that's obviously planet Earth. Now, Gary has a wife and a kid. And the kid loves, just loves Scorch. But, I mean, this was so predictable, this movie. So anyway, Scorch ends up going to planet Earth and getting captured and put in Area 51. And that's where where Gary has to go and save him. And that's what I can give you without the spoilers. Just, this movie wasn't very well developed. I mean, there were two characters that were not even really there. They were taken out of Paul, but they were only in this movie for 3 or 4 minutes. Now, there were two very good voice actors, though, I will mention before I hit the spoilers. First of all, William Shatner as the bad guy, the general who runs the Area 51. Brilliant. Great acting. Loved it. Couldn't believe it. Didn't know it was William Shatner till the end. Should mention that. Remember when I saw it was him, I was like, oh yeah. Really good voice acting there. The other one, and the one who, unfortunately, in this case, tops William Shatner, and I recognized his voice as soon as I heard it. Anyone would. It was George Lopez, playing one of the supporting characters, one of the aliens that Gary ends up being with in Area 51, locked up with. Now, I'm not going to go into too many spoilers. Oh, I forgot one thing. And I'm going to mention this at the end, but for those of you who aren't sticking around for the spoilers, I'm just going to let you know there is a nice little action sequence in the end, an animated action sequence, where the 3D is great. So if you want to see a movie for 3D, then you may actually get a kick out of the ending sequence. In fact, there's not really any much spoilers to go into. I'm going to talk for about 1 more minute with some spoilers. Okay, so the spoiler is that they're in Area 51, and the general has this giant machine, and he's... The one surprise of the movie was that there's this woman working back on Planet Bomb at Mission Control, Planet Bomb being the home world where the aliens are coming from. Forgot to mention one thing. Does the name Bob ring a bell to you? If you've seen Monsters vs. Aliens, it should. It's the name of one of the main characters. Or subordinate. Maybe that's where the name of the planet came from. And now back to the review. And she is actually betraying her people and giving this energy source to the general back on Earth. And what she doesn't know is he's planning to use this not as peace but as a weapon to blow up other alien spaceships and planets and stuff. And of course, being the smart one, Gary figures this out and he's like, "Oh no." So he sets the thing to explode. And they get out, and really that's it. There is a nice little chase scene there, actiony. 3D was good, as I said. It was really good in that chase scene, but really that's it. I mean, the only other thing is Scorch gets married at the end, because as I said, she's his fiance. Movie's over. I was like, I mean, the brother doesn't even really gain all that much more appreciation for his for his older brother. Scorch doesn't really gain. He gains some appreciation, but not enough. This movie just didn't develop. It wasn't confusing, but and it just didn't have all that much closure. Now, in case you're wondering why I was going from back and forth from lying on the bed to sitting up like this, the reason is that I am actually going to be using iMovie from now on, whether or not I get my webcam fixed, because I've found that I can actually edit my review and put in things that I may have missed during the initial recording. But you don't want to hear me talk about how my reviews are going to be in the future. If you have questions, just ask me. What movie's next? Well, I don't know what's coming out this Friday, but I do know that the first week of March, here come the Croods. And I have seen a trailer, and I'll do a preview review for that, so look